What's the deal, my people? You know what it is, Don Tony Teflon, Fill the Issues guy. This is Usual Suspects. We are in the building, and tonight we have a special treat. We are going to do something a little fun. We're going to rank the greatest TV sitcoms of all time. Now we're going to put them on the tier so you know exactly which ones are great, which ones stink. And we're going to want your input on this. And we're going to get this debate settled once and for all. What is the greatest sitcom and what is not the greatest sitcom? Phil, what's going on with you, brother?
Not too much. I'm excited to get out here and do this. I mean, so many times we talk about an episode or a specific thing, and then we get off topic and talk about random stuff. This is a good one where we're going to get to talk about a lot of random stuff. We're talking about these sitcom spinoffs and which ones are the best. There's so many damn sitcom spinoffs. When I was looking into this a little bit, and Tony sent me a couple of lists of like 30 that we're going to talk about and 30 bad ones we're going to talk about. There's a lot, and there's some that weren't even on this list. Some that I didn't even realize were spinoffs. I didn't know Trapper John MD was a spinoff of MASH. I had no fucking clue, Tony. No clue about that shit. But we're going to get into it. We're going to talk about it. As Tony said, we're going to debate it. We're going to put it in the silly tier list as best as I can. I have to like type in it. So we'll see. We'll see how that works out, but we'll do that. And we'll get the top group. And then what we're going to do, I think Tony and I were talking about this. Whatever's in our S tier at the end of the night, we'll try to keep that to 4. Because there can only be four votes, and then we'll bring the vote to you guys in the chat and let you vote on what it is and what you think, and the people in the comment sections later, Tony. So it should be fun. It should be fun to talk about a lot of random shows, because you and I have watched a lot of damn TV, man.
A whole lot. Probably too much when it's all
yeah, no, really. When it said too much.
Probably too much. We watch probably too much TV. But listen, this is not what we normally do. So we're happy to do this and get out there. We'll see if people actually show up to watch us today. So let's just say what up to the people who have shown up. As always, our boy Shanik, your boy, is in the building. Kelly Johnson has sent the super chat. Was Mark and Mindy a spinoff? Yes, it was.
Yes,
spinoff.
I mean, it was a different. I mean, we're going to talk about this in a second, but there are a couple of types of spinoffs. Mork and Mindy was an interesting situation where no one from the original show is on Mork and Mindy, but it is a spinoff. And Mork and Mindy's set in a modern age where Happy Days was set in the 50s. But yes, it was. And the funny thing about Mork and Mindy, and we'll talk more about that, but how it came about was that episode was originally just the creator of Happy Days' kids were bored with the show, so he decided to do some ridiculous thing kids would like, and they had another actor set to play Mork, but he got sick or couldn't do it at the last minute, and they just grabbed Robin Williams from a stand-up stage, and that literally, Tony, I mean, he probably would anyway, but it literally kind of launched Robin Williams into the fucking stratosphere.
100%. We got Julie B. Deep Dives is rocking with us. Thank you for being here. Jay Haymaker is in the building. Dita is up in here rocking with us. A couple of more, and that's it. Well, yeah, we have a few, and that's what we asked for, because we're here for you. Thug Mug is always in hand. All right, Phil, if you would like to bring up the list, should I have full screen? I'll probably full screen you for the list so people can see it better.
Okay. Okay. No. Let me pull up the list thing. Let me go over here and get our tier board. So if people haven't done this before, S is the best, A, and then the rest is school grades. But S is like, the step above the school grades there. Like, what is the best of the best situation?
Trying to make it.
I think we'd have to do it this way.
And then full screen you, right? Not full screen me. Oh, add the stage. No.
I screwed it up. Here we go. This should do it. Right there. There we go.
All right. There we go.
And yes, everybody that's watching us live right now, more so than any other time when you're watching us, share this out somewhere. Share it on, if you're another YouTube creator, share it on your channel, on your community page. Share it on Twitter. Share it on Facebook. Wherever you're sharing crap, share this out, because literally YouTube only recommends if we're talking about specific television shows. So we're talking to like the core group tonight. So if you're watching this right now, you watch all Tony and I's stuff.
100%. All right, what is the first show that
should we start on the worst one or start on the
No,
best one?
I think, and thank you, Fernandez. He has gifted 5 memberships. We truly appreciate. I think it just start on any one. We'll just do random and just put them in
Okay.
there.
Okay, let me start with one. Well, this is one that I haven't really watched, so some of these, Tony, we're gonna have to rely on between the two of us.
Yep.
So let's start with one that, and some of these might not even be on the list. We might not put them on our list because neither one of us have seen it. But
Okay.
Young Sheldon. Have you ever seen Young Sheldon?
I have seen Young Sheldon. Young Sheldon, spinoff show, Young Sheldon. I think the show is good. Obviously, it has staying power. People have watched it, but I know I had never heard anyone say that it's better than the actual original show. So therefore, I am going to put myself. I would say Young Sheldon should fall on the C line.
C. Okay. So
Yeah.
we'll put Young Sheldon right there. I'm gonna have to type out each one of these. I'm gonna do some horrible spelling, but but it will work. It will work. So there we go. Young Sheldon in the C tier. So next up on this list is, let's see. Let me scroll down on here, Tony. Oh, I think this one's low. I think number 2. The lists that we're going off is the 30 best spinoffs that from some random website. So we're just picking their list and going on it. And obviously, if we miss any along the way, please suggest it.
Yep.
Number 29 on their list, next up, is Family Matters, which, if people don't realize, was actually a spinoff from Perfect Strangers. And I would say to your what you said a second ago, Tony, 100% was way more popular than Perfect Strangers ever was.
Yep. You know, you listen, Perfect Strangers was popular for a while. Balky was popular for a while.
Don't be ridiculous,
but it didn't have the legs, I would say, as other shows. It just wasn't able to stay out there and everything else. Where would you put this show?
Somewhere, I mean, Family Matters is a great show, but ultimately it was sort of that Friday night kind of like, would you compare it as like a quality of a program with stuff like Small Wonder and Full House? It's not like a deep, awesome sitcom. It's funny. Urkel was a hilarious character, and Reginald, what's his name, is awesome at playing a cop, and whether it's Ghostbusters or Die Hard. I would probably put this in C personally as well.
You would put I was thinking D, but we'll go with you. We'll put it on the C tier.
Okay. Do you? I mean, if it's okay, we'll go and see. Partially, it's because I haven't seen Young Sheldon, so I can't judge it with it. So we'll say Family Matters. We'll do in this one. Yeah. Family Matters. There we go. Young Sheldon and Family Matters. Next up on this list, I watched Family Matters and Full House. Those were my faves. Yeah, I mean, I think they're like that, like family entertainment stuff, that must-see TV, Friday night, Saturday night stuff that isn't really great, but it's good TV. It's good family fun, Tony. That kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's a good show, and it was, listen. The bottom line is, if Urkel didn't become the star of the show doesn't go anywhere.
No,
and he wasn't meant to be the star of the show when it first came out. It just so happened to be that way. But it got corny to me when you have the phrase lines. It's like right after that era where every show had to have that one character say the same thing over and over again every episode.
Did I do that?
Yeah,
I mean,
so
yeah.
It was like the last one of those type shows.
Yeah. And it was probably one of the more popular ones. For me, it got a little weird when he started, doing science experiments like the Nutty Professor, and there was what was his cool personality? Stefan. Yeah. Hey, I'm Stefan. Because that dude didn't want to be a nerd on TV. He wanted to like show his real personality so he could get girls and shit. Like he's like, I can't be that character forever. I got to show I can do other things. But yeah, it was a pretty good fun show. I put it on the same level as Full House. Really like that kind of level. Okay, this is interesting because I might have this one higher than a lot of people, but next on the list would be The Honeymooners. So, but it's one of the foundation shows with I Love Lucy, which you could argue that those two shows kind of started sitcoms. I actually strangely like it better than I Love Lucy, and I know that's a hot take or whatever they say, like where most people would like I Love Lucy better.
Yeah, I like it better than I Love Lucy too. It's all around to me. It's a better show. I think that this is a show that a lot of people watch on New Year's Eve, right? New Year's Day. That they always do the marathons for it. But overall, when you look at the cast and the characters, when you look at Ralph and you look at Ed, they're very. It's very funny. It's period funny too. For what it was.
Yeah,
and everything else.
And I would say it's period funny, but the character of Norton is universal. Like so many wacky neighbor characters. We often talk about the definition of like who is the first, who founded something. You don't have Kramer without Ed Norton. You don't have Barney Rubble, without Ed Norton. Yeah, obviously. But you don't have so many characters. I think as much as Gleason was Gleason, like that dude didn't work. That dude showed up day of and like flubbed his lines and mugged to the crowd. And I mean, he's awesome. He's Jackie Gleason, whatever. But the star of that show was Ed Norton, was Art Carney. He just killed it.
I'd say it's the A-tier show.
Yeah, I would say you're A2 as well. I would say I would be with you on that one too. But how is the Honeymooners is a spinoff of the Jackie Gleason show. Okay. I was because that was why I was like, how is the Honeymooners a fucking spinoff? But yeah.
From the Jackie Gleason show is why that would be considered a spinoff. But yeah, I'd say A-tier. And like I said, where I say period stuff, this is a show that the guy talked about knocking his wife out all the time.
Every month.
You couldn't say that now. There's no way you go in there and say, I'm gonna send you to the moon, honey.
The
moon, right to the moon. And listen, I'll be like, listen, you made it when Eddie Murphy makes one of his most funniest skits of all time about you.
Dude, that's hilarious. We can't say it here, but it's freaking hilarious. Have you ever heard the story of people that if you know, the Flintstones is obviously heavily influenced.
Yeah, it's the Honeymooners in cartoon form,
to the point where it like they had to change Barney's voice from the early season to the second because it was too much of a ripoff of Art Carney. They never got Jackie Gleason or any of the other producers permission for that. And Jackie Gleason tells a story that he had like the papers in front of him that he could have signed to kill the Flintstones forever. And then he thought to himself, I don't want to be every kid's going to hate me. I'll be the dude that killed Fred Flintstone. He just let Hanna-Barbera get away with it. And that's a lot of Hanna-Barbera would do that. They would like basically copy a character,
they were bootleggers. I mean, they had Birdman instead of Batman. You can go through all their stuff and you would see that Hanna-Barbera copied everything.
Yeah, they had that Tom and Jerry ripoff too, Trixie and Mixie or whatever it was, something like that. Okay, here's an interesting one. I'm thinking about skipping some of these, but like it's hard to. It's hard to with some of them. But Empty Nest, a spinoff of the Golden Girls.
All right,
pretty good show. Nothing special. I mean, I don't have too much to say about it, but I would say probably a D, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I remember when he came on there and he was dating one of the girls there and everything else, and how they all swooned over this guy. It's not as good as the Golden Girls, not close to the Golden Girls, didn't run as long. I would say, it's a E tier show.
Yeah, I'll go with you on this one, E tier. And I'm going to add a very, whatever thing. I even like, which is going to be on a low list when we get to the bad list. It'll probably be there. But I like the Golden Palace better. I think the Golden Palace is underrated. I think there's some good episodes of that now that I've watched it a few times. It's all right. The kid sucks on it. When it's Cheech and Don Cheadle as replacing Dorothy, it kind of works. They kind of have this little kid that comes on sometimes that really sucks the life out of the show. But it's not bad. It's not bad.
Yeah, I hear. Diana says NCIS definitely. Well, I think we'll get to the NCIS and all that. That's definitely deserves to be on the list. NCIS as a spinoff from CIS.
Ooh, Tony, This next one's really, really tough. Partially because I know it's going to be all on me, because I'm pretty sure you probably haven't watched these, because at least in my memory, you haven't. The next show on this list is called Angel. Angel is a spinoff of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. In some ways, the fans of the Buffy universe, there is a divide that some people legitimately think Angel's a better show, or enjoy Angel as a better show. Joe's one of those people, I believe. I have a couple of other people that know that. Angel's a really good show, and in some ways it's better than Buffy, especially by the end. I would have to probably put it. I love Buffy better too, Amy. Like I do love Buffy better. I just think there's more great seasons. And I think Angel starts off really slow. And what do you call it? Buffy just has too many great characters. But I would have to put Angel as an A tier. It's hard for me not to give
A tier. I can't give you anything about it. I've never watched a single episode of Angel or Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So to me, all that WB stuff is just, it's WB stuff. There's no
fair. I mean,
I would say that's high quality television now. So you would have to put that up there on your own. But to me, I look at the WB stuff. What you can look at the Flash as a spinoff of Green Arrow. To me, it's the same. It's a decent.
It's the same stuff.
It's the same stuff. It's just not that quality. When we start looking at quality shows, The Honeymooners, to me, is a quality show in itself. So. I'll respect anything that you put on there.
I will hold my bias, Tony, because there's bigger fights to have later, and I'll put it at. And I know my spelling's gonna be awful. You guys are gonna see how awful of a speller I am. Well, it's just enough so we can know what we're talking about later. I'll put it in B. But I will say that Buffy, and not meaning to try to get you to watch it or get into it or anything like that, I will say that Buffy and Angel in the early seasons of Charmed are a step above the usual CW bullshit. They're a little bit better than I would say the Arrow and the Flash and Legends of Tomorrow and all of those shows. But it's hard to say. Like Josh Whedon did them, and he might be a dickbag, but he knows story structure and character, so it has a little bit of that proto Avenger vibe to it, with like the chattiness and the vibes and the cool stuff and some interesting characters. I'm not sure if you like it. I'm not going to tell you to go watch it, but I'd say it's a step above the other Warner Brothers bullshit, CW bullshit. Number 24, The Facts of Life. You get the good, you get the bad, Tony. You get them both, and then you have
The Facts of
Life.
Well, all right. Here's a show that it was a spinoff of Different Strokes. Mr. Edna Garrett played as their housekeeper. Then she went on to the all-girls school and started. It made Kim Fields a star. I think she's the breakout star of it, even though everybody wanted it to be Blair or Joe. In the end, when you look back, it's Kim Fields, the breakout star of the show. She's the only one who really considered to work consistently after the show. I love the show. Number one, it's biased because I was in love with Kim Fields for a long time in my life. All right, as a child, like she was so beautiful to me. So I'm really gonna be biased on this myself. So I'm really willing to let you say where you want to go, but I would say that it's definitely, I would say, a C tier, no less.
Okay, I mean, I might also. This is one of those things, Tony, that unfortunately we're both biased because I had a crush on Joe. So it will live in the C tier for now. All
right. I went up to Carla Way for joining. Thank you for joining us, Andor. So it's when Andor Sonic wants to know about Andor. We'll go through the list and anything that we've missed. And Johnny's in the building. Anything we missed, we'll let you guys we'll add them at the end and stuff.
Yep. I'm gonna skip this next one just because maybe you've seen it.
You had a crush on Joe, not Joel, Amy. I had a crush on Joe.
Yeah, I had a crush on Joe. It's and Blair to a certain extent, and to everyone but Natalie, but
Natalie was the first one to give it up.
Yeah. That was a big episode. But that's what I was gonna say. These sitcoms, they may not be high art, but we grew up in our age, and this is our Tony and I's. We walked to school in 10 feet of snow. certain generations have certain strengths in their media. The 80s and that period of time that the Facts of Life was on was a renaissance of sitcoms. You could say that some of the most legendary or legendary actors came from some of those sitcoms, or there was just the golden age. There were just so many, and when they talk about television history, that period of time is considered the unexpected second golden age of television, and it's all based around sitcoms. And all these sitcoms, when you have like freaking Michael J. Fox on your TV every week, like people like that, and freaking, like we can say all we want about it, and we're gonna keep personal stuff outside of it, and like the quality that the Cosby Show was bringing to you every week. That show was so good, and bring jazz musicians in and all these people and all this like crazy story structure and all this stuff, like Cheers and friggin' and even shows like Growing Pains and things like that were still the Golden Girls, Facts of Life, Different Strokes, all that stuff. The end of All in the Family and the Jeffersons. We were just in this like crazy era where sitcoms were just amazing, dude.
Yeah.
Jackie C. Finally, I was wondering, needed another Buffy fan in there to boost it up. Angel, only a B tier, exactly. There's people that would get in here and yell at me for not putting it in.
B is not bad. B is not bad.
But Tony, there's Angel fans that would yell at me for not putting it in that.
Well, you put it there, so I've never watched the show or anything, so I know nothing about it. So I have no right.
Valerie's Family, Mama's Family. There was just so many. I mean, Mama's Family is a good where a lot of some of the cast from that eventually on the Golden Girls ended up on. We just lived in a great era, Tony, of sitcoms. It excites me. This next one I am going to skip to put on the list, but I'm just curious if you saw it. Have you ever seen Gomer Pyle, the spinoff of the Andy Griffin Show?
I do remember Gomer Pyle. I have seen certain episodes of it. I haven't seen it on a consistent basis. I've only seen it, in a rerun. Here, obviously, I was on live when that stuff was dropping and everything out. So I couldn't give a really good description of Gomer Pyle.
Another one that I'm sure isn't going to be on this list that I want to mention is Just the 10 of Us. Do you remember Just the 10 of Us, which was a spinoff of Family Ties? It was about a coach that had 10 daughters.
Yes. Now when you said that, I do. I do.
And all the daughters were like Freddy Krueger girls, like Nancy from Freddy Krueger. It was like a bunch of them from Nightmare on Elm Street 4 and 5 too. There's like a cat, like 3 or 4 of the girls were Nightmare on Elm Street girls in the cast.
Yeah, 100%. And 10 of it. Let me make sure I'll make sure that these that I know exactly what this is.
Okay, Julie B says Gomer Pyle probably C tier. Thank you, Julie B. Our next one on this list is another one I didn't watch, but I know it's a good show, so I guess we can talk about it because you've seen it, Tony, or if not, we'll see where the chat would have put it. But have you ever seen Boston Legal, which is a spinoff of The Practice?
Yep, I have seen Boston Legal, 100%. The Practice was a hit show for a while. It didn't have the legs to last. It did last for a long time, for a fairly long time. And I will say that Boston Legal was not as good as The Practice. I would put Boston Legal on the D tier.
D, which is good because we have to get a D tier now. So let me create this. Give me 1 second. Boston Legal D tier. Boston,
and not because it's from Boston.
No, but I know. I know it's got a good cast with Shatner and James Spader.
It's just that's where it is. When you look at the shows it was up against, you know what I mean, compared to Law and Order or things like that, it never reached that height.
Ooh, I'm gonna put this this might be our first low one, and people can fucking argue with me all they want, but I'm like way that the original was better. Melrose Place. I'm all about Beverly Hills 90210. I thought it was a better show, better characters. I could give two flying fuckburgers minus Heather Locklear of it all about Melrose Place. It was a spinoff. Yeah. The boyfriend, Jake, I think he dated Kelly and had some issues with Dylan and came over. I was a big 90210 fan, Tony, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. I was in a situation where I was dating a girl and she maybe got me into 90210. We broke up. I still held on to the 90210, and it eventually turned into like a ex-boyfriend support group that we were all sitting in my room every week watching 90210 because we had all been in relationships and got addicted to 90210. I never could get into Melrose Place personally. I would put it at E, but I know it has its fans, but I'm not. I don't know, Tony. Were you ever into these kind of shows?
No, I was never into these shows, but I understand the place in history they are because everyone else around me, or at least all the women around me, were into these shows. I know a girl who, is nicknamed Melrose because she looked like the girl from Melrose Place. And I didn't even give the girl's name. Just called her Melrose, and she still gets called Melrose to this day. I would still look at Melrose Place. To me, considering, I always consider the show it came from. So, is it better than the show it came from? And what would I rank that show it came from? And then where I would place that?
You'd probably put 90210 as an F anyway, right?
Yeah, I would put 90210 at me personally as a D show. That means I would put Melrose Place to me as an E. That's perfect. Perfect. But you can put it anywhere. Yeah, I put it as E.
I don't know if you saw that. I put it as an E anyway. Next up will be the spinoff.
Wait, super chat from Kelly Johnson just saying that Kelly Johnson, Shannon Doherty was pure fire. She was.
Yep.
She was. That's undeniable.
Absolutely. And I mean, that was my thing with the cast, of the 90210 cast. I really liked the cast. I thought they were funny. They all had great sense of humor and stuff like that.
Queenly is upset. She says, "Oh my God, she is mad that we have put Melrose Place in E-tier." Listen, you have a chance to sway us at the end. When we go through them, you can say if we think we should raise or lower things, and we'll listen to you at that. No doubt.
Yeah, Queenly before in the last stream was like offering marriage to me, and now I've lost it. I just got a divorce, Tony. I got a divorce putting Melrose Place. But the next on the list is definitely better than the show it was spun off from, and it's weird. Like, I guess it is spun off from Maude, but I consider all these shows spun off from All in the Family, but it is Good Times.
Yeah. Listen, when I look at the show for what it was, I look at these shows, Good Times, I look at it for how long did it run? And what did the quality of the acting in the show? And then I also add in what it meant for that show to come out. This is one of the first shows that, when they first came out with the show, they wanted to have her, be a single mom, and she didn't want to show Black communities with dads that weren't there. She's like, no, I deserve to have a husband. She fought for it, and she got it. When they look at everything, Janet Jackson, was on the show, became a star on the show, and by playing Penny was what I think her first acting role. J.J. Evans, was a star from the show.
John Amos worked.
James almost worked. He came off of Roots and everything else. And Flora, and the lady who plays Flora Evans is just, an amazing actor. I have no choice but to put that show myself in the A tier.
Yeah, I already put it in A. Beautiful show, amazing characters that were truly memorable characters. So like someone had that great balance, maybe had a little bit of that element where a character was introduced that wasn't supposed to be the star and turned into the star. How I Met Your Mother is another example of that. Barney was supposed to be sort of a side character, and Neil Patrick Harris and JJ Walker's the energy that he brought to that show and just the vibe, just great times. And
listen, they did a storyline with when Penny first came, she was getting abused. Her mother was burning her with the iron.
Yeah.
You never see a storyline right now that the person's mother was burning them with the iron.
dude.
They also did a storyline. And thank you for the super chat, Kelly Kid Dynamite. They also, everything that was topical. You had the militant black young son with the militant son who wanted to be the Black Panther, who wanted to be everything like that. And you had the father who was just that dad will kick your ass if you fuck with his son. He wasn't
Maybe
playing around.
the prototypical
beautiful
I'll kick your fucking ass. Yeah.
sister. Yeah, like no, you were fucking with James. Like James wasn't playing. You watch that show, you see James was not playing. Like,
No, not even a little bit. Dude.
I remember.
Not a little bit.
No, I remember you tried to. Hey, listen, they show kids get that beat in that show. Like I remember, he took a kid in the room and pulled the belt off, and there was no doubt that he whooped that kid's ass when he was in there. When he was in that room. And this is the time and everything else the way it was and stuff. And it wasn't his kid that he did it to. It was just another kid that was acting up. And he whooped his ass. I know. It was a really good show. I mean, I remember there was a storyline there where a lady was eating cat food because she didn't have any money. And everything. And the funny part was they all heard the rumor that she ate cat food, and so she invites them all to her house for dinner, and nobody wants to eat. And they're all scared to eat the food. They all think it's cat food, and they keep pushing it to the next person and everything else. But no, it's an A tier show. I don't think.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on that one. A tier show. Kelly Johnson with another super chat. They said he fired John because he fought for his character. Definitely, they did get into that situation towards the end of the season because he wasn't exactly excited about the fact that he signed on to the show thinking he was going to be the star.
Mm-hmm.
So
it was her show. She got the show made. They made the show off of Maud because of her character.
Yep.
And she was the maid for Maud, and then she went home, and when she went home, it was good times. That was the show.
And we got to give credit. You said it in basically what you were saying. The whole Norman Lear tree of shows was way ahead of its time and had balls beyond anything of what they did with All in the Family, Maude, The Jeffersons, and Good Times. And I might be missing one, but I think that's all the spinoffs from that show, except for the Archie's Place and all that sort of shit. But like those main 4 shows from that universe really did not hold back Tony. He did not give a flying fuck. You know what I mean? He was like, he was putting it in your face and you were dealing with it, like people that 100%.
Amy says that really happens. Only folks eat dog and cat food where they barely get by. And that's what she explained too in the episode. She's like, yes, I have eaten those things when I was starving, but I would never feed that to my guests.
I've done it. I've definitely eaten it when needed and hungry in certain situations. And we thank you. By the way, anyone that's tuning in right now and watching Tony and I do this, we very much appreciate it because again, we're not talking about any shows. We're just having a little fun at the end of a rough season of a show that we're talking about to just have a little fun here on an idea. So we do appreciate all you guys and everyone in the chat and keeping the discussion going about this one. This is another one I might not actually put on the list because for me, it's like below F because I saw one episode and I can't, but I didn't like the main show either. And that's Knots Landing, which is a spinoff from Dallas.
Yeah, Knots Landing is complete garbage. I would put it on the F tier.
I would put it double, like below.
There's no even need to speak about Knots Landing.
Exactly. I am with you. But this is a show I definitely do want to talk about because it was hugely popular and it was hugely successful and more successful in my mind than the original because I didn't even know the original existed till 20 years later. And that is Benson, which was spun off from the show Soap, which again was a great fucking show. When you go back and watch
Mona was in Soap.
Mona was in Billy Crystal was in Soap.
Yep.
Was Tony Danza there too? I don't think so. But
I don't think he was in there. But yeah, Mona was in Soap. Yeah, look, Benson was a good show. Again, it's rare at this time when you look at all these shows that you have the African American, I would just say Black American myself, but I don't want to confuse people. The Black American the lead of the show and to carry the show, and it was about him, and no one overtook him and became a star over him. It was always his show. He always carried the show. Unlike, like I said, Family Matters. If you didn't have the Urkel breakout, it doesn't go. But yeah, I agree that Benson could be B tier.
I'm gonna say B just because I was such a fan of it growing up, and like when you watch, it almost has. Spoiler alert for one of our S tiers, even though we don't want to go ahead of ourselves, but let's not cut the shit here. Frasier's going to be an S tier, but it's a similar situation where if you watch Soap, Benson was an important character, but it's not a character you would think that would spin off from that show. Mm-hmm. And then Benson became way more popular than Soap was. Soap was not a popular show at the time. It's almost akin to Taxi, even though Cheers isn't a spinoff of Taxi, but Taxi and Cheers have similarities in some ways, and it just was not as popular as Cheers. And Benson became way more popular than Soap. Okay, but let's continue with one we talked about in our pre-show area, and we got to mention this one, obviously. And it was asked the question, Tony, where the fuck do we put Mork and Mindy? Because it wasn't a very good show, but but Robin Williams was a fucking force of nature.
He was. It wasn't that good. I enjoyed seeing Mindy in those tight jeans. I'm not gonna lie.
Cute. Yeah, she was cute as hell.
I was not going to lie. He did. Listen, when I was little, I pretended to be Mork. Like I would say Nanu Nanu. You know what I mean? I would be like Shazbat. I would do these things. All because of this character,
Sometimes I'm reminded why we're friends, Tony.
Yeah, I would do all this all because of the character. But then we have to look at the fact that, in my opinion, the character was better than the actual show. Like he was better than the show, than the show was.
100%.
You know what I mean? He overshadowed the show, and that's why if it was my, I would put it in the C tier.
Okay, well, let's go with C tier. I'm with you. I'm with you on that one, Tony. As much as Robin Williams, I'm not going to mince words. Robin Williams is one of, if not one of my favorite performers of all time. And I know the people that want to hate on him will say, "Oh, he just stole jokes." He did, and he admitted it, and he apologized for it. And times he did it, but you know what? I don't bloody care. He's funny as fuck. He can steal my jokes too.
Stealing jokes is not a right thing to do, but you do have to perform the joke, right? You do have to deliver the joke when you're a comedian, and his delivery is unlike any.
No one does it like that, except for maybe
his delivery was better than the people he stole it from. So it comes down to that. The guy could literally get on any stage, dry at any time, and bring the house down.
Yeah.
And not many people can do that or were able to do that. You know what I mean? And then the accomplice, as an actor, he just was so accomplished as he showed all the things he could do besides character. And this is a hairy motherfucker. It wasn't like this was a sex symbol out there. This guy was like George the Animal Steel out there.
Exactly. He could be George's brother, Tony. And I was going to say something similar, Tony. As he's a rare freak of nature human being that could go up on any stage in the world and make you cry laughing with the stand-up comedy, and then the next moment walk on a Shakespeare stage and do like a serious monologue from King Lear or some shit. It's just, he's a ridiculous talent. But to your point, he and Mindy, the actress who plays Mindy, I'm blanking on her name, and Jonathan Winters, who showed up on it later.
Cindy Williams? Not Cindy Williams. That's from the Laverne and Shirley.
Yeah, I forget her name. I'm blanking on it right now, but it begins with an. Does it begin with an M? Maybe. More. No, that's Mindy. Gosh, now that's going to bother me a little bit. Oh, but I have it. I can literally look at it. And it's on screen right in front of me, probably. Pan Dauber.
Yeah, Pan Dauber. Yeah, she was cute as hell.
Yeah, she was. They were better than the material. They absolutely were. Oh, I didn't even expect to see this one on this list, Tony, but I saw it before, and I'm so excited we get to talk about this. I'm so excited. I want to play a drum solo. No, the next one on our list, I don't know if I drank cocaine tonight or something. I'm lit tonight, Tony. House of the Dragon.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Where the fuck do we put this pot? This wonderful show.
It's hard. Number one, I love Steve Toussaint. He's a good friend of mine, the actor on the show. I consider him a friend. So I love the dude. Let's look at it. It's completed 2 seasons. The first season was not bad at all. The second seasons, they lost their way. Now, did they lose their way because HBO pulled 2 episodes from them, and then they were not allowed to do it? If they were able to have those 2 episodes, and it was the battles that were going to get the beginning this episode, then I think people say that the last season was a smash hit. It would be also good. I think it's a really good show, well acted. It's again, I'm comparing it to Game of Thrones. Is it better than Game of Thrones first 2 seasons? No, not at all. But Game of Thrones would be an S tier show. That's why I would put this on the A tier.
I would probably put it on a B at this point, because I would put season 1 on an A and I would put season 2 on a C. So I would even would you hate me if I wanted to put it on a B here?
I accept the B. I accept the B tier.
I'm not going to put it any lower than that. It could find its way back up to A, but the way season 2 ended and some of the meandering around in it, I don't think I can say that both seasons were an A season. I think season 1 was an A show. I think it was.
I think you also have to take in consideration is this: the people who read the books have different expectations than people who never read the books. Yes, they didn't do the blood and cheese thing exactly like the book or do it right. But if you never read the book, do you think it's right? Right. So you got to look at it from that. You know what I mean? It's different to me. I read the book. I know how it should have went. I've seen what they did, but then you got to also understand you can't do everything that you do in the book that you can do on television.
You can't.
There's no way you can do these things. You can't chop little kids' heads off or do anything off like that or anything like that. You know what I mean? So that's why I would say it's an A. But if you want to say B, I will not fight you on that. Kelly Johnson, thank you for super chat. House Dragon is going to be the death of the franchise. I think it has too much good material left for it to be bad.
And to be fair, if at any point in time, Tony, we get to a point with any of these that we actually do have a severe disagreement,
we'll put a poll in there.
Oh no, we can just split it up. We can have. I'll put a T next to the if this is one that you feel strong enough that you think it's an A, because I moved Angel up to an A. But if you feel, I'll put a little T as an A and P as a B.
I accept it on a B tier.
Okay. It's close. I would put between B and A, like in that middle tier. Kelly Johnson, Kelly Johnson speaking so much logic tonight in his super chats. I would say as well, Duncan Egg should be a top tier and please is going to save Game of Thrones for me. That's
we'll see. I got to see the show to say if it's going to be able to pull. I think it has a great chance to doing it. Again, because it's so focused,
yes,
and it is so right there, right in the pocket, that it should be a kung fu type situation dealing with that show.
Yeah, no, I agree. Kung Fu, Incredible Hulk, something like that. Even Mandalorian to a certain extent, the first season. Okay, people were asking about it, and I'm gonna need your help on this one. Is this the one with Mark Harmon on it?
Yes, it is.
NCIS, which is a spinoff from JAG, which are Joe's initials, by the way. I have not watched any of these shows. These are the shows that I'm completely ignorant on. Procedurals, Tony, the Law and Orders, the NCIS, zippity doody zippity yay. I haven't watched any of these shows, so I'm gonna have to rely on you. Where's NCIS?
When you look at NCIS and the length, how that it ran.
Sorry.
And as many people that were on the show and then became mainstream actors after, it wasn't one of my favorite shows that I watched. I thought it was a good show. I myself, the Don Tony Teflon, would say NCIS is definitely a B tier show.
B tier, right up there. Okay, awesome. And everyone in the live chat, Tony mentioned this earlier. I'll say it again. If once we get through whatever these lists that we have, I've been just staying in the best list right now. We're gonna jump in the worst list in a moment. But if we miss one, please suggest it, and we'll put it on our tier list. This is we're moving at a good pace, so let's continue. I'm gonna skip.
Johnson says Jaguars boss, but NCIS has become dead off. Becoming and what it was is different. It is when you run long enough, you're gonna suck. The Simpsons isn't what it was, and that's only because it ran so long.
Too long.
And that's it.
I'm not gonna these next two. I'm not gonna put on the list just because I don't. One isn't even. It's not a sitcom, so I'm gonna skip over that. The next one, I'll ask you. I understand the greatness of the Mary Tyler Moore Show. I never watched Rhoda, or Mary Tyler Moore Show. They just weren't for me. They were my mom's shows, so I just could never get into them. Same with MASH. Yeah. I understand how great Mary Tyler Moore and MASH is, and Rhoda. Out of protest, they were the shows that my mother and grandmother watched, so I didn't watch them as much as like the Honeymooners or I Love Lucy, which were more stuff I discovered on my own. So do you have an opinion on Rhoda, or should we move on from that one?
No, I would say when you deal with Rhoda, again, the Mary Tyler Moore Show, first woman to be like single and have her own job and do her thing and put it out there. Actress is amazing. Rhoda, she went on to do the Hogan's Family, right?
Valerie Harper.
Yeah, I would say from what I've seen and what I remember that it would have to be no less than a B tier show.
Okay, awesome. I'll put it in on B. And yes, Valerie Harper, who's cousins with our own live chatter, Vince Harper. No, I'm kidding. no relation. Give me a second. Let me add it here. Let's put Rhoda in.
Kelly Johnson says, wasn't there a spinoff to Bewitched called Agatha?
Agatha all the way. Yeah.
Agatha all along. It was Agatha all along.
It was Agatha all fucking along. Here we go. People wanted us to talk about this one, the show that launched an icon, because unarguably, I think Tony and I, we can do this again later for just all sitcoms, but I think we would. It's safe to say I would definitely put the Golden Girls in S tier, and this show is fronted by the queen of the Golden Girls, B motherfucking Arthur, and that's the show is Maude, a show that literally had no chill. This show, Maude was off the fucking hook, and B did not hold back, dude.
Yeah, no, even if you watch it now, you see Dorothy and everything. Maude was 10 times more than Dorothy. Like the Golden Girls were Dorothy's the queen of shade. Like the queen of shade of all time, B. Arthur is the queen of shade. She delivered shade like nobody else delivered it. Before there was a word shade, it's what B. Arthur did.
Yeah, there was Maude. Before there was shade, there was Maude.
You know what I mean? And she was that. Yeah, listen, is it better than Rhoda? Yes. Better than NCIS? Yes. It has to go on the A tier.
It does. It really does, Tony. Yeah. As always, excellently said, Tony. I can't even add much to that because that's just perfect. B. Arthur, force of fucking nature. And this show was the most B. Arthur ever was. As much as the Golden Girls, she was the star. I mean, like, as much as Rose,
the Golden Girls is B. Arthur's show.
Yeah,
everyone else is a secondary character. The show gets made because of B. Arthur. If you didn't have her, they don't make this show with her. You know what I mean? And that's the bottom line in everything else. There's no way around it. That's B. Arthur's show, the Golden Girls.
But like someone said this better than me, and I'm paraphrasing them, so I'm gonna fucking fail at it. But it was something along the lines of I know B. Arthur in Maude, and maybe it was Rue because she's on both shows, and because Rue is on Blanche for Golden Girls fans is on Maude, basically playing a Betty White like character, playing a Rose like character, playing the dummy, and she's said that show in the Golden Girls are like B's two personalities. Like, it's B light, and like when you piss her off, when you're Maude, you get the Maude. When she likes you, she gives you the Dorothy. When she hates you, she gives you the fucking Maude.
Yeah, no, that if anyone hasn't watched it, I would say watch it. It's just she's as you said, a force of nature. She is B. Arthur. She is the queen of shade. She
Yeah.
is shade. She made the term up. What she did. It's all about her.
She literally made up shade. That's a great.
No,
We
she lit
gotta
your
make.
ass, and when you right in front of it, not knowing she was lighting your ass. So yeah, no, more deserves to be
Yeah,
in the A tier show.
yeah.
We
With
haven't gotten any S tier shows yet,
no
but I'm
S's.
sure we will. I'm
Just
sure.
to go over what we have so far. No, we'll hold it on. You guys can see it on the screen.
Yeah,
But
Julie B. Deep Dive says Rose Boo is doing great. The clinic treatment saved her life. She's talking about her cat here.
no, good kitty.
Now she's almost back to normal, just sleepy from being on the antibiotics. We're so glad to hear that your cat is doing much better.
Oh, kitties. We love kitties here on this show. Next one is a show that I must admit I have not watched enough of to formulate too much of an opinion, but we can't not put it on the list because it is probably one of the foundational television shows of all time here as we're getting into the top of this list that they're giving us here, Tony. And that's the Andy Griffith show.
Yeah, listen, the Andy Griffith show for what it was an important part of Hollywood history.
Yeah,
right?
I don't even think we need to put it on the list. We should just talk about it, I guess.
Yeah, it was an important part of Hollywood history. What it had Andy Griffin, Don Knotts. It had Opie Cunningham.
Ron Howard. Opie Cunningham. That's perfect.
It had a great cast.
I'm gonna call him
not the type of show that I would like, but I understand what it was. You know what I mean? But it's nothing that I would want to watch. You know what I mean? But
that's why I feel like we can't properly judge this one, so we're gonna keep it off the list because it's not of our age to truly judge it, and it's spun off from the Danny Thomas show. But who fucking remembers the fucking Danny Thomas show?
Yeah, who's Danny fucking Thomas?
But if I was gonna put it somewhere, having seen maybe one or two episodes of it, and the fans of it would probably put it at A or S. To be honest, they were like real fans of this show would probably like. I think Jackie C is like S's. Mayans, we can talk. Make sure you mention that when we bring it to you guys after we get through. We were going through the 30 best, and we're gonna go through the 30 worst after this, or just yada yada through some of them and put some on the list that belong on the list. But at the end, before we review, we're gonna go to you guys in the chat, so make sure you hold on to some because Mayans is one I could definitely say a few things about as well, and I've seen a few other ones that you have mentioned, and that's what I would say. John Haymaker, Mayans sucked. So the Andy Griffith show. Next is another CSI, the whole universe, all the CSI shows. Like where would you put? Have you watched the CSI shows, Tony? Because
listen, it's spun off too many for it to be terrible. But I'm not going to put it as all that they were all as good as NCIS, so I put them as a C tier show.
C. Okay, let's put it in the C bubble here. Properties. See, once I have it all in, this is a lot easier to do because now I have like the only ones we haven't done. Funny enough, Tony, the only ones we don't have any tiers of yet are F and S yet. We don't have any worst and any great ones. But
some may get moved to F when we start looking at the list.
It's true. We can absolutely move some around. So, Law and Order Special Victims Unit, spun off from Law and Order. I would say most people that are into the whole Law and Order thing prefer Special Victims Unit over the original one. Special Victims Unit is the one with the dude from Oz. Is Ice-T on Special Victims Unit too?
It's Ice-T. It's also the mother, the daughter.
I'll be right back, Tony. I'll be right back.
It's also the daughter of the Hollywood actress who died in the car accident. Mansfield is Mansfield's her name because they named the thing. She died when she had her daughter in the back seat. They were going to a gig. And she crashed into a truck. Her husband crashed into the truck that was back before they had the bars that came out of the back of the truck. So her car went right underneath the truck, killing her. and then they made all the trucks have these bars in the back, and it's called the Mansfield bar. So it's her. Actually, she has a documentary, the daughter, about her mother coming out soon and stuff. I would say you have no choice when you look at the time that it's been on television
No,
to
dude.
put it as an A tier show. It could go to S. This for the length of time that it was, but to me, I would say it's no lower than an A tier show.
Yeah, I'll put it in A. If I'm putting Angel in an A, SVU probably belongs there too. I think I just put it in C by accident, but let me fix that. As I drink more mistakes will happen. I'm sorry. But I'll do it. So yeah, I think. Oh, where'd you say? Did you say an A? Yeah, I think it belongs.
I would say it could go to S, and I wouldn't be mad, but no lower than an A. You could put it as an A.
I will put it in. I'll put it in A. I think that's a right place because right now in A we have the Honeymooners, Good Times, Angel, Maud, and SVU. So I think that is appropriate. So next on the list is oh, here we go. The first one for me, Tony. You'll have to talk me off the ledge on this one because this is a fucking S tier. We're finally to an S one. I'm not even gonna say it. I'm not going to say it. What show am I about to say, Tony? What show am I about to say if I'm just rushing this one to an S?
I would have to say you're talking about Better Call Saul.
And you're fucking right, Tony. Better Call Saul. What could I say about it that you can't watch 4-hour videos of just me talking about? But that you can't watch Tony and I talking for numerous hours on how amazing this show is. Is it better than the original? Some people think so. I'm not sure what I think though, but there are arguments for it.
There is. And when you have Breaking Bad is considered one of the greatest shows, if not the greatest show in television history, and then you come off with a spinoff that says that it is just as good, if not better, then I think you have no choice than to put it in S tier.
Yeah,
I mean, Better Call Saul is an amazing show, and not only you should probably move it over because it's getting blocked by the live TV thing on the screen.
Is that better? Can you see it now?
You're too far over. You could put it back a little bit more.
I'm putting it right there because it deserves to be in a position of prominence because it might be my pick for the best of all time.
It could be. It could be. You know, when you look at the characters, Lalo Salamanca.
Yeah, Lalo sent us.
He was just on The Last of Us.
Best part of the damn episode, Tony. Best part of the damn episode was Lalo.
You know, and you look at what they did was they didn't do another version of Breaking Bad. They really crafted a show in the Breaking Bad universe around this character. And that's what House of the Dragon fails to do. House of the Dragons tries to be the exact clone of Game of Thrones instead of making a new show around these characters and making it feel different. Better Call Saul does not feel like Breaking Bad. It doesn't, even though they have characters that go back and forth, it doesn't feel like Breaking Bad. It feels like its own show.
Until the end when it wants to make you feel like it's Breaking Bad. And then it does. There's a few moments towards the end of the series where they turn Breaking Bad on for a second. And they're like, hey, welcome to Breaking Bad. We're there now. And they clearly, and Tony, out of all of these, wouldn't you say it's the most unexpected? It wasn't expected to be good. It was expected to be a failure. Like when they announced it, they're really doing that with Saul Goodman. Like they're doing a spinoff. It was joked to be it was going to be a comedy. Like no one saw this one coming. You know, it's like Al Pacino says in The Devil's Advocate when he's playing the devil. He's like, yeah, I'm a shit bum. No one sees me coming. And Kevin, no one sees me coming, Kevin. And it's Better Call Saul. No one, Tony, saw this show coming.
Yeah, no one did. Hey, listen, it's a great show. It's anyone who says it's not an S tier spinoff. And again, we're ranking them on spinoff or shows. It's an S tier show, but regardless of spinoff,
I often say this. There's a table somewhere. a dinner table with the best shows of all time sitting at that. And, you know, maybe The Wire sitting at the head of it. You know, maybe Breaking Bad and The Sopranos are right there. Better Call Saul sitting at that table too. The early seasons of Game of Thrones are hanging out over there. You know, parts of Mad Men are hanging out. You know, like there's a bunch of people hanging out at that table. And Better Call Saul is at that fucking table, Tony.
It is. 100% Better Call Saul is the first one on the ST, and it's well deserved to be there.
Bill Chill is throwing some good ones that I'm not sure are on the list, but make sure you mention those later, Bill Chill. Stick around with us and say it at the end because especially I don't know if the Star Trek ones are here because I want to talk about all the at least a few seconds about all the Star Trek ones because they definitely deserve mention. Oh, here it is. Fucking A. Number 6 on the list, on this list. And Tony, you got to talk me off the ledge for putting another S tier on this one. Star Trek The Next Generation in Deep Space. And I'm going to just do all the Star Trek spin-offs of his. Star Trek The Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, whichever one's your show. Mine's Deep Space Nine. But whichever one of those shows is Star Trek, a S tier spinoff of the original Star Trek.
When we look at the original Star Trek and the original cast of characters, you're talking about legendary characters in Captain Kirk, right? To proceed from Captain Kirk with Jean-Luc Picard. This is a big jump. This is hard to do. This is to take that place of that captain and then do it in your own way, right? He didn't try to be another Captain Kirk. He didn't try to be as athletic and as fighter and sleep with every alien under the rainbow like Captain Kirk. Did it in its own way, presented the same weapons, but has found a new way to use them. I mean, with a better villain with the Borg and everything.
Yeah, great villain.
And all that. The better villain than they ever had on Star Trek than the Void. You know, I would say when you look at Star Trek, The Next Generation, for as long as it ran, and plus all the other things that popped off, I would have no problem seeing Star Trek on the S tier.
I would say if I'm putting all of the Star Trek, a whole blanket statement of all the Star Trek. I know people, Bill Chill says Star Trek spinoffs, B-. I am going to say, since out of the two of us, I know you like this stuff more than you let on because we've talked off camera, or you said it on camera too. But you definitely are like Star Trek. It's if I'm picking one Star Trek, one ring to rule them all, the best of all the Star Trek spinoffs as a whole overall series, and I'm not mincing words here, and I'm playing. Let's not fuck around here, folks. This is the big list. The Star Trek that deserves to be on this list is Deep Space motherfucking Nine, with fucking Avery Brooks, the best captain of them all, and Quark and Garak and everything. It's a better show than Next Generation. It's a better show than Voyager. It's a better show than the original. It's an S tier show on its fucking own. So Next Generation can get behind Deep Space Nine on this one, Tony. If you're allowing me to indulge my Trekkie bullshit here and put a Star Trek show as S tier, I'm putting Star Trek, mother grabbing Deep Space Nine, Enterprise 2. Sorry, Jesse. I'll give Enterprise some love too for your Enterprise fans. All those original series, that original Trek, especially the last couple of seasons of Enterprise, they deserve to have 7 like the rest because they started to get good. And I love me some Scott motherfucking Bakula. But Deep Space Nine is the best one of them all, especially seasons 3 through 6 is S tier television, Tony. It's some of the best TV. I don't know if you've ever watched it. It all hooks in.
No, I watch. Of course, I watch it.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know if you watch Deep Space Nine, but Deep Space Nine is the best from seasons 3 to 6. It's one of the best shows of all time. It's one of my favorite shows of all time. So definitely an S tier. Deep Space Nine will be the one that will hold the Star Trek title right now.
Kelly Johnson, thank you for super chat. Deep Space Nine stole the damn show. Odo's arc, incredible.
Fuck yes, Kelly Johnson. Thank you for Deep Space Strong. And I know I'm preaching to, my own thing. I walk around. I do podcasts with a Deep Space Nine 6 foot tall room divider in the room to Tony. So, anyways, the next on this list, this is a tough one because I love this show, but it's another one that I think I might be biased for, Tony, and I'm curious of your perspective of it. Laverne and Shirley.
Laverne and Shirley, spinoff of Happy Days. They were just dates of Richie and the Fonz.
Yep.
And Shirley was with Richie and Laverne was with the Fonz. And that's how they started. When you look at those characters, where they came from that, right? And then where they actually took them in Laverne and Shirley and everything. Laverne and Shirley was more popular than Happy Days. It lasted longer than Happy Days. It introduced characters like the Big Ragu inside of it.
And Chuck from Better Call Saul.
Chuck from Better Call Saul. Lennon Squiggy. All these people. A show that was starring two women, single women, and having a promiscuous one, and launched lines like rodeo do.
Yeah, dude. I love your memory sometimes, man. I love that you don't smoke weed. I love it. You have a great fucking memory, dude.
I would say Laverne and Shirley deserves to be on the A tier.
Yeah, I would say between A and B. So I'll be with you. I'll give you I'll yield to you and put it at A right there. But yes, I'm lucky that Tony doesn't smoke weed. This is another spinoff. I feel like I'm a hater on the whole Mary Tyler Moore thing. Lou Grant. I don't even want to put this on the list. What the fuck?
I don't know nothing about Lou Grant, so I can't give you Lou Grant.
Lou Grant. Okay, here we go. Oh God, Tony, it's gonna be tough for me to not want to put this one on an S right now. But so talk me off. Tell me why this is an A, not an S, or just yield, or just go crazy on this one. The next one is spun off from All in the Family, the best of all the All in Family spinoffs, equally as great of a show. Like, both shows were equally as great. The only thing that sucks about the fact that this was a spinoff was that they didn't cross over more because the main character from All in the Family and this main character had amazing chemistry on screen. And that is, of course, the Jeffersons.
No, it's an S tier show. We really don't have to debate this. When you look at the Jeffersons as a spinoff, a guy, number one, they're from Queens, New York, where I'm from, right? That's where Archie Bunker lived too, was in Queens, New York. The show was based in Queens, New York. From Queens, New York, going up, getting some cleaners, moving to Manhattan into a building in the sky. Not only was it amazing, they said the N-word frequently on the show. They said the honky frequently on the show.
Norman Lear shows did not have a show.
It launched for Florence Henderson was on the show, launched her. It had Lenny Kravitz's mother, Roxy Rocker, was on the show. It had the first really interracial marriage in television history on the show. It had wealthy Black people on the show, which they really didn't show on TV up until this time. And when you just look at the show off the bat, Sherman Hemsley is just incredibly funny. The show,
maybe one of the funniest guys to ever be on TV as a television actor.
It's a comedy, and the show, it's incredibly funny. It does it. It's funny. The show is incredibly funny. It lives up to it. Everything it does. 100%. The Jeffersons is an S tier show. I don't know how anyone could say that it's not.
Yeah, I'm with you. Sherman Hemsley, continuing his amazingness on screen anytime. Amen in 227. He just, and then even him on the Surreal Life later, he has unbelievable camera chemistry. The camera loves Sherman Hemsley, and and his voice is just incredible. One of the underrated parts that Sherman Hemsley did was the voice of the boss on Dinosaurs. I don't know if you ever watched Dinosaurs, Tony. It was a show that was out.
Yeah, I watched Octomama, right?
Yeah. Dinosaur. He did Sherman Hemsley did the voice of like the angry dinosaur, like the angry boss, like I'm gonna fuck Winslow, he died. You know, he did such a great job in that like small little role. He's just one of my favorite performers of all time,
Yeah.
and it's hard. It's not even a competition. Like all these ones that I'm about to say are probably going to be S tiers, because next up on our list, Tony, is in our competition for maybe our winner here tonight. And that is, of course, fucking Frasier, dude. Another one of these unexpected ones. Frasier, as much as I love Cheers, and I do love Cheers, I might like Cheers better. It depends the time of day. And rest in peace to George Norm Peterson.
Drinking a beer right now for Norm.
Tony, we owe it to him to go give him one big. Everyone, wherever you are, get ready to say Norm at the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Norm! Rest in peace to George. But both shows are equally as awesome in different ways. Frasier has one of the tightest casts of all time, with him, Daphne, Martin, and Niles.
Yeah,
and
Niles.
Roz.
Saratoga, New York. Still lives in Saratoga right now, Niles. From Saratoga, New York.
Frasier's an S tier for me. It's hard to not put Frasier in S tier.
When you look at the success that Cheers had, it was legendary success. Legendary. It was the best show on television when it came out. And you took a character, and they had so many characters to choose from in there, right? You could have. It's so many people. You could have did.
We're going to talk about another one later, Tony. In a little bit.
You could have took a lot of things off that show. They take Frasier Crane, all right, a character who was mostly featured in the Diane era, right? That was his time when he was there, when he was battling with Sam for Diane, and then heartbroken after she fucked them both over. And to say he's going to move to Seattle with his brother, and his father was going to be there and do a radio show. When you look at the concept of the show, it doesn't seem like it's a hit show. Then you just hear it on paper. But the show is one of these shows that you can make a case that it is better than the show it came from.
100%. You can. It's one of the smartest shows to ever exist. It's funny, like the wordplay on it, the crazy farce stuff. It's in the conversation, Tony, for the greatest sitcom of all time. Yeah. And so is Cheers. It's like that table that sits Frasier, Cheers, Seinfeld. What other sitcoms would you put there in like the greatest? We'll do this again with greatest sitcoms. If people are enjoying Tony and I doing this, let us know in the comments right now, and in the live chat right now in the comments. Whenever you're watching
Three's Company is a great Three's Company with Chrissy is one of the greatest shows that ever existed.
It is, but I that would definitely be A. I don't think it's S though. I don't think it's up there with Seinfeld and Frasier.
I don't know. I think you have to. I mean, when you just take that with Chrissy, I'm not saying the full show, because you don't go full length to the show, though. But if you take those with Janet, Chrissy, and Jack, and you put those together,
you're right.
Those episodes,
Jack Tripper, like okay. Let's save that. Let's save this for that future one, because we'll do that one too, guys. If you're enjoying Tony and I babbling and doing this tier listings, the first time we've done it. I've tried this once with the HBO series, but this is the first time we tried one of these tier lists. If you guys are enjoying us doing this thing, we'll do more of these. This is a Jackie C. You speak logic bombs right there with what you just said. Anything with Danny DeVito is the best. Okay, the next one we got to talk about is a difficult one, because a lot of people will say we got to rush this one to the S, but I don't know, Tony. I don't know. The next one and the last one on the good side we're going to talk about right now, then we're going to talk about some bad ones for a little bit, is The Simpsons.
Well, if we're looking at The Simpsons and we're looking at it as a spinoff,
the Tracy Ullman show, it's way better than
the Tracy Ullman show, because it was just a little skit in the middle of the Tracy Ullman show. The length, the longevity, pause again, of the show. I mean, you really cannot put the Simpsons in anything under an A.
I'm
It's
going A.
lasted longer than anything else, but it is a cartoon, and you have to take that into account that it's a different form of humor when it's a cartoon. So.
And Tony, it's something to be said of George Costanza once said, you know, I like to leave on a high note or something like that. The Simpsons is not leaving on a high note. It's sticking around. And a show that we're not going to talk about, but I want to put on the list that I would probably, it's not going to actually be on our list, but I'm going to give it a fucking B or like a high B, is fucking Daria. Daria, a spinoff of Beavis and Butthead. Another animated thing that is it's Futurama. If Futurama is a spinoff of The Simpsons, is it? People in the live chat, let me know. Is the Futurama considered a spinoff of The Simpsons? Because there is crossover. They are in the same universe in a weird way. Futurama, I like the Futurama better than The Simpsons. So I don't know. It is Daria deserves an A. I would give Daria an A as well.
I look, The Simpsons is entertaining, but when you look at like how funny is it? Is it funnier than King of the Hill? I don't think so. I thought King of the Hill was funnier. Is it funnier than South Park? No,
not
I
in a fucking way. South Park is the best animated series of all time.
Funnier than South Park, you know what I mean? So if it's supposed to be a comedy show for what it is and what it represents and everything, you have to put it there. But you look at it for an actual comedy. It's not funnier than South Park. It's not funnier than
Speaking of South Park, have you heard about this project that Matt Stone and Trey Parker are working with Kendrick Lamar? Like it's a show that they're writing together.
No, I know nothing about that.
Yeah, Kendrick Lamar is working with Matt Stone and Trey Parker from South Park to create a show. I don't know much about the show. I don't know what it's going to be about necessarily. See, it's obviously going to be a comedy of some sort, but they're working together right now creating a show. Isn't that an odd pairing? But makes total sense. Like in a weird way, it's like an odd pairing, but it's like that makes total sense that those dudes are working together. You know,
let's see what they got. I'm interested in it. But yeah, Simpsons. I mean, it could be A, it could be B. But you know, but if you put an A,
if we're taking The Simpsons at its best, it would be an S. If we're taking The Simpsons at its worst, I'm giving it an E or an F. So we're gonna give it an A.
All right.
We're gonna give it an A. Let's go over to some bad ones. That's all that was on the good list. Let's go to some bad ones here, Tony. And a lot of these are going to be sub Fs, so we won't necessarily put them on the list until we get towards the higher thing. But Three's a Crowd. I never watched Three's a Crowd.
I never watched it either. I can't even mention it. But there are shows you ever. I have to call out a different world. We need to put a different world.
Okay, different world. But no, we'll definitely open it up, and but we can talk about the different world right now. Different World, great show. It's the thing about Different World that is so impressive, Tony, is Lisa Bonet was a force of nature as well, and is a force of nature, and she can turn me out anytime she wants. No, but Lisa Bonet was the star of that show, and she decided to leave. And that show, it's almost the similar story to like the Hogan Family, where the show could have failed, the star left, and then it created new stars with the two breakout characters of Dwayne and Whitley, and also like we can give them as much shit as we want, Tony, because it's fun. There's certain people that's fun to give shit, like Jim J. Bullock or this dude or that dude that were on sitcoms, or Boner or this dude or that dude. But Sinbad was a big part of the success of that show too, and some other characters that were mixed in.
It had Marissa Tomei.
Marissa motherfucking Tomei.
Marissa Tomei. That's how she got big off that show, right? And so, no, when you look at a show that loses the main star and becomes more popular after she is gone, that is the sign of a great show. It came off the Cosby Show and everything. Not many shows can lose the star. And you can go through anyone we have on the list right now.
Ooh.
And go through them and say, if Maude loses Maude, the show doesn't work.
Nope.
If Laverne leaves Shirley, the show doesn't work.
If
Benson is gone, it doesn't work. You know, you can go through them and look at these shows. If they lose, and they lost their main star and got more popular. Not only did I told you cultural impact is a thing, it made more Black people go to black colleges because of this show, specifically. And still to this day, black people go to black colleges because of this show. When you look at the cultural impact that it had and the longevity that it lasted for as long as it did, I have no choice but to put A Different World as a S tier show.
Ooh, you put S tier. Interesting.
Yeah, it's a S tier show all around.
So
It's for everything that it meant, and there's just no way for me to put it below a S tier show. It is amazing show. At the time, that Whitley character, that Jasmine guy, was the most beautiful woman I ever seen in my life when she came out on that show. At that particular time.
Ooh,
I had the flip up Dwayne Wade glasses. I wore those glasses. That show came out when I was like in 6th grade, and I wore those glasses specifically because he rocked them. You know, it no doubt about it. And again,
Jay Sleek is all with you in the live chat. Yeah, you just gained a fan for life with the Jay Sleek on that Different World stuff. And I'm not going to argue with you. I watched that show a lot and I fucking loved it. And I love that whole hour of television right there. You know, the Cosby hour was great.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we can, you know, I don't want to make light or make jokes about the horrible fucking shit and like should be in jail crap that Bill Cosby has done, but his show and that in Different World and his production company was huge and made great product.
I mean, it's hard for me to talk about Bill Cosby when it's all said and done because he did so much for the black community that can't be taken away. But what he did to women can't be overshadowed either.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
A good deed does not wash away a bad.
No.
It's obvious he did it. It's obviously he did things. But I will say, I'm not coming to his defense in any way, and I don't want it to be taken like this. But again, he made a video about Spanish Fly, put it in his comedy act. You know, he had a whole thing. Ooh, you put it in drinking. Woo. At the time in the 70s, it's like, you know, I would say, listen, slavery happened. People, it was a part of the times, didn't make it right. At the time, that was what it was. It was not done just by Bill Cosby. It was done by many people. And I remember being able to go, and in the 80s, to the gas station, and they sold
at the counter
Spanish Fly.
Yep.
For you to buy right next to the condoms to put in a woman's drink so you can have sex with her. They sold it right there. If you look at Animal House, a movie that came out there's a scene where a girl is drunk and she's passed out, and John Belushi is standing over her. And then the angel comes on his shoulder and says, leave her alone. And then the devil comes on the show and goes, fuck her, fuck her, fuck her, fuck her. Right? And that's a comedy that was put on the show, put in there, because at that time, that's was considered normal to do. Like it wasn't considered a bad thing to do. It's a horrible thing to do. I have 2 daughters and never want them to be in any situation like that. But again, I will say that at the time, they sold this product you didn't have to, you could just go buy it not in the liquor store. It was in the gas station.
Yeah.
Right next to the condoms. Right next to the Stud 100. And the Stud 100 was called Mandalay. You sprayed it on the tip of your dick and you were able to last longer. And it was called Mandalay. You can look that up. I ain't playing with you. Right?
Tony, not meaning to change the subject, but do you see the chat on the bottom right of the screen?
I do see that.
Yeah, see, we can
nice.
Turn that off and on. There we go. We can keep people in the fucking.
Well, you guys show me how to do that. I don't know how to do that.
Oh, you it's at the top of like if you open up the comments, like where you can see on the right,
comments on stage.
Yeah. I have it turned on right now. You just turn on and off right there with that switch.
Nice.
We'll go back to our list. There's Tony for the girls for tonight. There's your still image for the night. Anyways, so Wow, I didn't even know there was a spinoff of Sanford and Son. Sanford Arms? This is another like G one. There was a
Sanford Arms. I don't remember this show at all.
no, was this
Uh,
like Sanford and Son without Red Fox?
yeah, if they told me like Chico and the Man, then I would say maybe, but I don't know Sanford Arms, so I can't comment on those Sanford Arms.
Yeah, again, that's low. Saved by the Bell, the college years is also because Saved by the Bell would be an F tier. So
Yeah,
Saved by the Bell, the college years is like double
yeah,
F.
that's not even on. That's not ranking.
Tabitha. Oh yeah, someone said there was a spinoff of Bewitched. It was called Tabitha. I never saw it.
Yeah,
Uh, let's go Phyllis and the Brady Bunch Variety Hour.
yeah,
I
no,
don't
that's not
that's
working.
not real. How I Met Your Father is worth talking about for a second here. It's again a sub F thing. How I Met Your Mother, even though it ended poorly, had jokes and intertwining storylines that really worked and kind of like a tight thing and characters that all work together. How I Met Your Father was using Fuller House comedy. And what I mean by that is Fuller House is the Netflix series that was the Full House spin-off post sequel thing, and it's Full House humor, like over the top, like, hey, we're doing a spin-off here, blah blah blah. How I Met Your Mother kind of used the same fucking writers, How I Met Your Father, and just was horrible. The Blacklist Redemption, I didn't see that. Models Inc. Stop me if you've seen any of these. Oh, okay. Here's one that, again, maybe the first one that we'll put on the F because even though it's probably a below F, we talked about Frasier and
Yep.
Frasier being a good Cheers spinoff. Cheers has 3 spinoffs, I believe. Maybe there's more. Correct me if I'm missing one. The other one is Wings, which was an okay series.
Wings
Nothing.
is good. I liked
It was
Wings.
good. It was good. It was good. Nothing bad, really. Just a good series. But then we got Tony. We have the other Cheers spinoff, the forgotten one, called the Tortellis, based around Carla's fucked up drunk ass husband and his
And this fucking extremely hot wife. Let's
yeah,
not
yeah,
fuck-
yeah.
with the Marilyn Monroe voice.
Yeah,
She was fucking smoking.
Loretta.
Yeah, Loretta. Okay. She was smoking. And I, you had this brutish of a man who somehow just had the ability to get women and make them fall in love with him. And this beautiful blonde bombshell, big boobs, low Marilyn Monroe voice, and somehow this was supposed to be a good show.
Oh,
It was doomed from the start, and everything else. It has to go in the F tier. I think that chick is incredibly hot, but besides that, there's no doubt that it has to go. This scumbag Nick, who
yeah.
was he's just I don't know how all of a sudden they gave him these superpowers of Tony Teflon in that body, but it just didn't work.
Dude, they did. They
It was
made him
doomed
like
from the
give
start.
this like whisperer powers. And I want to read. We're gonna read Kelly Johnson's super chat here in a moment, but I want to read what the wonderful Julie B. Deep Dives, fellow New Englander, had this just said here because in the live chat it's true. Let me scroll up. Oh no, not Carla's nasty ass ex Nick Tortelli. That show is never gonna last. Never gonna last. It was the thing about Cheers that worked, Tony, is that they bring characters on for like one episode that were good enough for one episode. They knew how to use them just enough.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was not something that could carry a fucking series.
You couldn't do a Norm show. You couldn't do a Cliff show.
Nope.
But it worked just to have them come in and do their thing. I think Woody could have been Spinoff. You could have done a Woody. I think he's a good enough actor with his Kelly wife.
They asked it.
That you could have did something with them if you wanted to.
I don't know if you know this, but at the end of Cheers, when Ted Danson decided to leave, that was their first idea. They took Woody Harrelson tells the story. He says they took me out to dinner and they like said to me, hey, we want to do a spinoff with you. We want to continue Cheers, and Sam retires and you take over the bar and it's all about your family. And he says, nope. And I don't want to do that shit.
Exactly, because that doesn't work. You have to do what Frasier did. He has to go somewhere and start it new. And then you bring in those characters one by one just to visit like they did in Frasier on certain episodes, and you call it a day. You have to be able to start anew with him. Like he was a congressman, like he ran for Congress in the show. He goes away and you show him in Congress the whole time, or mayor, whatever it is. You show him in office the whole time and him living there with the same thing. And you bring in a whole list of new characters. That's the only way. You can't just have him trying to run the bar when Sam's not there. It just wouldn't work.
Tony's superpower is his Yankee fitted hat, says Reyes Jones.
Well, maybe.
It's one of it. It's one of Tony's superpowers.
I say I am very powerful sweating with the hat off. All right.
So Tortoise. This is another show I haven't seen. It would probably be a sub F. Living Dolls, which was a spinoff of Who's the Boss. I don't fucking know that.
I have no idea.
Oh, Tony, I'm just going to read the scoop on this one. How does the show co-starring Halle Berry and Leah Remini fail?
How was that a spinoff of Who's the Boss?
Living Dolls was a spinoff featuring characters introducing in a backdoor pilot. This was Berry's acting. So the backdoor pilot, if people don't know.
I do remember the show. This show, they were models.
Yes.
They were models in the show. Yes, I remember this. And yes, Halle Berry was in this and stuff. I do remember the show. They were models in the show. I watched 2 episodes of it. The show sucked.
Yeah, I didn't watch it. In backdoor pilots, if people want to know what the difference is, a true spinoff has a character that was a regular on said show that stars in another show. A backdoor pilot for a spinoff is you have an episode of a spinoff that features a certain character, and that character is being introduced in said show to be exposed to a wider audience. And then after one episode, that person goes off and starts their own show somewhere. There's a Brady Bunch episode that does this with a family that shows up, and then they do a family. The next episode and then they start their own personal show. So backdoor pilots are usually less successful, but there are some successful ones.
Yeah. I mean, I would say they tried to do it with Pam.
Yep.
In Martin, where she was going to go with Andrew Dice Clay. Andrew Dice Clay was running a record label, and Pam goes and works for Andrew Dice Clay in the record label. And they did the whole episode was Martin and Gina were not in it. It was just Pam, and all the characters who would have been in that show were in there, and her running the record label and her there working for the record label. They did that. The show they never did the show, but that is what a backdoor pilot is.
KP, for right now, we get the voicemails open. Feel free to leave a voicemail. We may open up the phone lines at the end, depending on how we're doing with time. But if you want to leave a voicemail, we'll listen to it when we're done before we review it. But the voicemail line is always open right now. But let's continue. I didn't see Booker, which was a spinoff of 21 Jump Street. I don't know if you watched that.
Yeah, show. that was Johnny Greco's show.
Oh,
where he was just on a motorcycle and shit, just driving around a motorcycle.
Yeah.
It's an F show.
I'm just gonna say some of these because again they're sub F or I haven't seen them. Checking In, a spinoff of the Jeffersons. I never knew one existed. Hawk, starring my Captain Sisko, Avery Brooks, a spinoff. A Man Called Hawk, a spinoff of Spencer from Higher. Okay, number 13, The Golden Palace, which was a spinoff of The Golden Girls. When B. Arthur left, that Rue McClanahan kind of became the star, and they bought a hotel, and Cheech and Don Cheadle, I'm not making this up, were introduced as main characters to kind of replace Dorothy as the straight man in the situation. Tony, have you ever watched episodes of The Golden Palace?
I did. I watched it, and I would just say that again. It just shows you that it was B. Arthur's show, right? And the last episode of The Golden Girls, B. Arthur gets married and she goes away, and that's when it all ends because it's her show. The characters just didn't work without B. With them there, it without her holding it down, it just didn't work. Now it was a decent concept, but it just didn't work without her. You know, I wish I could give it anything more than an F, but I enjoyed it. But is it better than Is it deserved a spot next to Empty Nest and Melrose Place? Maybe. Is it better than the Tortellis? Yes. If there was something in between them, would it go right there? Yeah. So, either way, for me, it can just stay there.
Yeah, I would argue a little bit that it's at least on the level of. You're right. I can't, Tony. As much as I want to like it, it's it it has to be in the F tier. It does. Because mainly because let's be honest, right? And so since I said Don Cheeto, I might have said it. I might have said John Cheeto. I've been drinking to use a Tony line. I've been drinking.
That's right. God damn it.
Deal with it. This is more of a fun stream. This is not serious here. We're just having a good time here, fucking around. It is serious because we're putting ultimate rankings here, but you know what I mean. We're just having a good time here tonight. It's a Friday night, and we appreciate everyone joining us tonight. When you have embarrassment of riches of actors and talent, even though you needed B to make it work, there was a way to make it work with all those people. Cheech and Don, so Don Cheeto, are really talented guys, and they could have been used right to make something that worked. And it was just. It wasn't even just that B was gone, Tony. The writing on the other girls sucked. It wasn't the same team. It wasn't the same show. It didn't have the same energy. It didn't have the same. I don't know. It's an F tier. It's F. Next.
It's hard not to say that it's not. You know what I mean? I wish I could. I would give it if they were able to figure something else out than what they did. I mean, it just seems like the writers were in the room and said, all right, let's take Rose and Blanche and sit at the Inheritance Hotel, and it's going to be them rolling the hotel.
Oh, yeah, I think that's a good idea. And then we'll have
it seems like this. They threw something against the wall, and the ladies were just willing to do something. But if you look at like when Betty Wright got in there with Hot in Chicago or Atlanta, whatever.
Hot in Cleveland.
In Cleveland, that's the type of spinoff they should have did, with them too. You should have thought outside the box and done something like that.
What do you say now?
Why are there so many songs about rainbows,
Jackie C? What are you talking about, Jackie C? Okay, this next one, Tony, is probably gonna be another F tier, but it's one of the saddest stories in all of fucking show business. And not sad, there's bigger tragedies in the world, but in show business stuff, we're talking about stuff that got fucked up. So you talked about a show that you would argue would be an S tier show, Three's Company. Three's Company had some characters called the Ropers. Yeah. They were hugely successful as the foil to our hero, Jack Tripper. And they were so successful that they argued and convinced the stars of that show to get their own spin-off series called The Ropers. The Ropers, these characters are so successful, let's have a whole series based around them. And then they had them go off and do The Ropers, and they introduced these new characters called the Farleys with everyone's favorite television actor, and seriously, one of the funniest guys to ever be on a TV screen, almost like Sherman Hemsley. Like, the screen loves this guy, Don frickin' Knotts. So The Ropers was a colossal failure. Another F tier. Like, let's not mince words. It's another fucking F tier show. Isn't this one of the saddest stories in all?
It's obvious though. It was obvious it wasn't going to work. I don't know how they thought it could work. Again, when the Ropers worked was in spots with these other characters, not carrying the whole show. When you had Jack and Chrissy and all of them, and then you fill a little scene with the Roper, then it works. Not a whole episode of the Ropers would never work. And that's exactly what they experienced. And that's why it didn't work. And it was just terrible. You can't have, every episode your wife's trying to have sex with you and you don't want to have sex with her. That only works for little clips, not every episode. You know what I mean? And they're doing it every episode. It's just not going to work. You know, even with Al Bundy and Peg, he had to give in to Peg and lay the pipe to Peg. You know, even though it lasted 1/2 second. But when he did lay the pipe, the whole house shook for that 1 second.
Like a wholesome car.
Speaking of Married with Children, Tony, was there ever any Married with Children spinoffs?
No.
People in the live chat, are we missing it? Because I don't think so either, Tony. I agree with you. I can't remember one. But if people in the live chat
unless you want to, no, Home Improvement's not from there.
No, I don't think so.
No, that's not from there. I'm trying to think if Tim the Two-Man Taylor was on there. For some reason, something in my head said he was on there.
There was an episode where Sam Kinison. Do you know the original Married with Children? Sam Kinison was supposed to be or they wrote it with Sam Kinison in mind.
It's true. He was screams too much. No one would have accepted it.
But that's why he ultimately ended up not getting the part. But there was an episode where he played the conscience or like the angel of Al Bundy as a Easter egg on the fact that the part was written essentially for him.
Yeah, Sam Kinison is like Bobcat to me. Like they had one stick, you know what I mean? And Sam Kinison was a scream, and then Bobcat was
that weird voice.
Whatever. There's no name for it, right? I can't give you a name for what he was.
I'm sorry for the random sound effects. I can't help but hit this.
Yeah, I can't give you a name for what Bobcat was doing, you know, but it was whatever he was. I can't give you a name for that. You know what I mean? But they're like cut from the same cloth. Like it's a one-trick pony. It's only gonna last for so long, and that's it. You know what I mean? And eventually, it's going to be considered annoying.
Exactly. I'm loving that I can do weird sound effects while we're talking here, Tony.
All right, Phil he's the Undertaker now is coming to the building. Everyone knows Phil has gotten a new toy and he's very excited about it.
I want to play with it. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry if I'm hitting random sounds while I'm talking or while Tony's talking here and there. I think I have it at a soft enough volume that's not interrupting us while I'm doing it. Yeah. But sorry about that, everybody. But I have it at least on the sound effects setting, so I'm just trying to like adapt to what we're doing here. Okay, no pause, Julie B. We're done with pauses. It's Friday night. This is going to turn into something else if we don't finish soon. No, I'm kidding. I've never saw The Girl from U.N.C.L.E., which was The Man from U.N.C.L.E. I've never saw The Man from U.N.C.L.E., so we're not going to talk about that. Nope. Mr. Columbo, we're not going to talk about that. Baywatch Nights, another F sub F. Joni Loves Chachi was horrible.
It was
horrible. Another F.
It was, and again, it seems like it should have worked. You had a star in Scott Baio, who women loved at the time.
Sure.
You had Joni.
Charles in Charge worked later, so it wasn't Scott Baio's fault.
Yeah, you had Joni, who I think would have happened with, and I hate to say it, and I don't mean it in a bad, but what I think was that the actress who played Joni.
Erin Moran
wasn't as cute as Scott Baio was when he grew up. Like she didn't get that. She looked great when she was a kid, but when she got older, it didn't continue for her. And I think that threw the show off, that people didn't want to believe that Scott Baio was with her because people are just stupid and that's just the way it is.
Steve says Married with Children had a spinoff. It starred Matthew, and I agree with 100% what you just said. And also it was just written poorly, and there's a music element.
It was, and listen, Mrs. Cunningham was beautiful as fuck.
Oh yeah.
Like one of the most beautiful women who ever existed is Mrs. Cunningham. Period. If you look at it, Mrs. Cunningham was booty, titties. She was stacked. You know what I mean? She was amazing, and her husband was no way he should have been with her, but no one questioned that. But that was what people were saying about the Joni Love Chachi thing.
Steve adds that Married with Children did have a spinoff. It starred Matthew LeBlanc before Friends. I did not, in the Johnny Carson voice, I did not know that. So thank you for letting me know that. And I've never seen it. And F tier. Next is the sorry. Next is
it was called Top of the Heap.
Oh fuck! I did not.
Top of
I
the Heat was
totally
a
did not know
backdoor
that.
pilot, spinoff of Married with Children. It ran for 7 episodes in 1991. It starred Matt Bullock and Jesse Jordan. The show focused on two young men. Vinny, I remember this fucking show.
I did not
I
know that
remember this
existed.
show. I do remember this
Oh
fucking
yeah,
show.
Jackie C. Top of the Hill. I didn't. I
Yeah,
never
and,
heard of
and
that.
this was a guy who was like another Al Bundy. They tried to make him like Al Bundy, and then his son could get all the girls and stuff. But this guy was like if you go look it up, Phil, you see, like he's just an Al Bundy clone. Like they just tried to clone Al Bundy and do him again.
Okay, we're gonna get a lot of F tiers coming up here in a second.
We
Here,
got someone here real quick. Let's throw it in here real quick. Xena, Warrior Princess.
okay, Xena was better than Hercules, way fucking better than Hercules. Fun show. Lucy Lawless kicks fucking ass. Those shows were ridiculous. Definitely the CW bullshit, but Xena was top tier of the CW. And again, we say CW. I know they're not on CW. They were just these shows like
Yeah.
that, you know what I mean, like Channel 56 we had, or 38, you know, these shows that weren't network shows and I'm just going to refer to them as CW shows. But I would say Xena is a top tier of those shows. I would say Xena is a B or a C, like between B and C.
Yeah, I'd say it's C because I can't see it
I'll go with C
being
then.
better than Facts of Life.
No,
It was
or
a good
more
show.
community.
It's
Yeah.
not as good, better as Facts of Life. It's not as good as House of the Dragon, right? So I would say Xena is a C tier show.
Okay, I'll go with you there with Xena. The next one again is a sub F, the Brady Brides. All of the shit that they tried after the Brady Bunch just fucking sucked. Well, like except for those movies that came out much later, the ridiculous movies. But all the Brady Brides, the Brady Girls Get Married, the Brady Christmas, the Brady Variety Show. And I was an early Brady Bunch fan. I'm Brady Bunch over Partridge Family all the way. They mentioned my hometown in an episode. The Bradys were awesome. Marsha and Jan were both very beautiful, and Mrs. Brady is
Jan was a beautiful woman. Marsha definitely was.
Florence Henderson. It's
gorgeous.
almost the Cosby Show thing. It's almost the Cosby Show thing where you're like, yeah, you know,
Florence Henderson was gorgeous. I don't know how.
Yeah, seriously, it's the Felicia Rashad thing, like the Cosby Show.
Yeah.
With, you know, where you're like, oh, these, Lisa Bonet's hot, Vanessa's cute, blah blah blah. But oh my God, Felicia Rashad, the Brady Bunch, same way. Florence Henderson is just like a goddess. She's you don't get more gorgeous than Florence Henderson. You just don't.
No.
But the Brady Brides fucking sucked. Okay, people asked about it in the live chat. We're gonna talk about it right now. After MASH, everything they tried after MASH sucked, Tony.
Yeah, there's no aftermath. Aftermath was terrible.
MASH ended. It's
not even worth to be on the list. You know what I mean?
No,
again, if we're talking greatest sitcoms of all times, again, MASH will be on the list without a doubt. But anything after MASH was terrible.
Yeah, after MASH, my ass. People also wanted to talk about this again in a sub F, but we're talking about everything. It doesn't even belong on the F because the Tortellis, Golden Palace, the Ropers, Joni Love Chachi had characters that were beloved in shitty sitcom. So maybe this next one deserves to be on an F, Tony. I can't lie. And this is one that's, when we get to best sitcoms, you're going to have to argue the case for this show because I can't, because I just don't like it. I understand that Friends is on the same level as all these other sitcoms for a lot of people. I can't stand Friends. I never could get into it. Yeah. But even worse than Friends is the sequel series of Friends with Joey. That's the Joey series. I hate Friends, and I hate Joey even worse than Friends. So
listen, number one about the show,
Friends sucks.
They took Adriana out of The Sopranos so she could do this show.
Oh, this was the show she left The Sopranos for?
Yeah.
Oh, ass.
Yeah.
Ass.
Which you lost my Adriana because of this shitty ass show.
Bull.
Right? So for that reason alone, it's a fucking Z tier. All right, it's just terrible. Fuck that show. I got no love for this show.
Absolutely. And Steve, thank you for mentioning that. Trapper John MD. My grandmother loved that fucking show. I watched a lot of it. It was a good version of that show that existed at the time. There's a couple of shows that existed that were different versions of that medical drama kind of series that existed. Trapper John MD, I'm not going to waste energy to put it in one of the tiers, but as what it was for a spinoff of MASH in identifying itself as its own unique thing, I would probably put it at a C.
Yeah,
It
no,
was
that
good.
wasn't terrible. Trapper
No,
John.
it wasn't
MD.
it wasn't terrible at all.
It wasn't terrible.
It was a C. It was a C, right middle
But it's
middle of
not
the
as
road.
good as like Quincy. Like
No,
Quincy.
no, Quincy was a better version of that show.
Yeah, Quincy was better. Quincy, it's a show that gets no credit and will never get mentioned ever, unless we're talking about it. But Quincy was way ahead of its time, and you don't have these medical dramas without Quincy.
So Tony, the last one on this list is just Beverly Hills Bunts, which I don't know. It's a sequel series of Hill Street Blues. So we're basically at the end here. Let's everyone in the live chat. If Tony and I have missed any that we have not talked about yet, now is the time to put it in the live chat and let us know and bring it up ones. Tony, are there any that you can think of that we haven't talked about yet that you would have wanted to mention?
I mean, it depends how you look at it. I'm not. I mean, I guess if you wanted to consider The Wire a spinoff of The Corner, I have to really look and see which one came out.
Yeah, I don't think it really is a spinoff. I
no,
think
it's not fair to put it there.
No.
It's just not fair to put The Wire.
We can't have The Wire kick everyone's ass always. It's not fair.
It's not fair to put it there. So I wouldn't put that in there.
I'm sorry, Julie B. My best friend Joe loves Friends. He's a huge fucking Friends fan. My friend Nick likes Friends. Everyone I know likes Friends equally as Seinfeld. Like, to me, they were almost like people say you're a Beatles guy or you're an Elvis guy. I've also heard you're a Friends guy or a Seinfeld guy. Like, I'm way more Seinfeld.
I don't like Friends for the fact I thought it had some interesting episodes.
Yeah, there's some good episodes.
Bottom line is they stole the whole concept from Living Single, from top to bottom. Everything about it was Living Single, and Living Single never got the credit that it deserved. And for that, I always will resent Friends because they just did a white version of Living Single. Yeah, from top to bottom. And that's it. And that show blew up, and all of a sudden this show couldn't, so that's why I have, it's a personal thing to me about Friends. So I'm not really good. It's not good for me to say. Yeah.
Fuck Friends. But sorry, everybody. We'll talk about that again. We'll revisit Friends in the
and Julie B says she's never even heard of Living Single. See, so it's just
totally.
You go watch Living Single, Julie. I brought up, you go watch it, and you'll see. You'll see.
It's the fucking chickens thing, Tony. It's a fucking chickens thing. People just don't hear about it, so you don't know someone's ripping somebody else off. Tony, there's an interesting one that we have to talk about. I just put Jackie C mentioned a couple. I just put Daria at a C level. I might even bump it up to a B, but Daria was really great. But there's another. Do we consider King of the Hill a spinoff of Beavis and Butthead, or is it its own thing?
I mean, I guess it is. I mean, if the characters were in Beavis and Butthead, then it's a spinoff. But if the characters weren't in Beavis and Butthead, it is not.
No, it's actually a different character, even though it's similar. It
have to be featured in the show, then get a show off of that feature.
So
Daria a spinoff.
So I would not consider King of the Hill technically a spinoff. What other spinoffs, people in the live chat, have we talked about? Do we talk about the Boys spinoff? I haven't seen the Boys spinoff yet.
No, I've never even watched it. The Boys spinoff. I think it's too early to say.
Fernandez, he says it was called Top of the Heap. Interesting, very interesting. So what other shows haven't we talked about? So to review the list, people in the live chat keep telling us, is there anything else that we haven't talked about from a spinoff that you guys can think about before we get into our final thing here, Tony?
Yeah, I think this is what it is. I think this is the top of the heap.
Our top S tiers. So let's go over the list, starting in the bottom. Our bottom F tiers. Everything else we talked about was sub F tier. The Tortellis, Golden Palace, the Ropers, Joni Love Chachi are all F tiers because really they have good casts, good people that are playing it that are good in their prime shows, but they just failed. So they deserve to be F, not sub F. There's like everything else we talked about sub F. Ooh, Darkwing Duck, DuckTales, Darkwing Duck, A tier. A tier. No, sorry. But I E tier. Next up, we get Empty Nest and Melrose Place. Both passable shows, but not really great. D tier, All Alone, Boston Legal at D tier.
It's by itself there.
Good cast, decent stuff. C tier, we get Young Sheldon, Family Matters, Mork and Mindy, CSI, I mean, and Xena Warrior Princess. Level B, we
and
got
the Facts of Life.
Oh yeah, and the Facts of Life. I forgot the Facts of Life over there. Thank you, Tony. B, we got Benson. This is where we're getting better here. Benson, House of the Dragon, NCIS. What's RHD? Rhoda and Daria. A tier, getting to the really good stuff. We get the Honeymooners, Angel, Maude, SVU, Laverne and Shirley, The Simpsons, and Good Times. And our S tier, what we're going to get to vote here in the live chat in a second, is Better Call Saul, Frasier, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, The Jeffersons, in A Different World.
Yeah, I mean, I could make changes to it. I could see changes being made, maybe moving Laverne and Shirley or Maude up to the S tier. But besides that, you wouldn't have to. Everything else seems legitimate to me.
I don't think they're quite the only thing that I don't think they're quite on the level of the other S tier shows, really.
It's hard to say. I mean, I mean, it's close. It is
close. It is close.
I mean, Dragon is trash. Okay, Kelly, thank you for super chat.
So we can rank our S tier here to put the high ones. We'll put like Laverne and Shirley and The Simpsons deserve to be high in the middle here, right? You know what I mean? Like in like between S and A here, and then Mod 2 is a little higher for sure. I mean, A is nothing to be.
No, it's not. You can put them in the A tier. It's nothing to sneeze about. You know what I mean? It's they're in the A tier, and it's fine. It's fine them being there. We just really got to sort out the S tier shows.
So everyone in the live chat, and you can vote for either S or A's. Who you got? Who's number one here? I'm just curious. In the live chat, let's get in there. Like we could do a poll, but we got more than we allow. We only got 4 choices in the poll. Unless we want to narrow this down to 4, Tony. Do you think we can narrow it down to 4?
Let me see. For the S tier,
I mean
if my 4 you would have to take out Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
No, I would take out Different World probably.
Yeah, I can't take out.
So live chat, give us in the live chat. Better Call Saul, Frasier, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, The Jeffersons. Will count votes. Different World. Vote. Put one of those. Vote Better Call Saul, Frasier, Deep Space Nine, The Jeffersons, or Different World. Live chat. Put it in the live that. We got Bill Childs, our first vote. Jackie C, you got to pick one. Julie D. Okay, starting with Julie B, Tony. If you're looking at the chat, we'll start with Julie B's vote. Seems to be the first one that didn't. We got Frasier. We'll count it, put it in the live chat, but it might become obvious. It's looking obvious right now. Thank you, Kelly Johnson. Ooh, Jackie C. You got to pick one, Jackie C. You got to pick one, Jackie C. I love you, Jackie, but you got to pick one. We're holding you to one fucking vote. Lola picks Different World. We're going to count these votes in a second. Get it in the live chat. Get all these votes. It looks like 2 are pulling ahead, and maybe we should do a vote for 2. But what
I mean, I think if people vote, it's going to be Better Call Saul or Frasier, right? I think that's what
realistically we could put that vote Better Call Saul or Frasier, right?
Vote would come down to.
Couldn't we ultimately these 2 it's between these two, right? Isn't it? These three are S tier, but they're in a different category.
It has to be between those two. I would think that if you're gonna be honest with yourself or anything,
I
that
think we might have more
Frasier
Frasier votes.
and,
Look at the.
and Better
I'm going
Call
to count this.
Saul.
I'm going to count this right now.
We're gonna put. I'm gonna get it right now. I'm gonna put the.
Okay,
the
cool.
poll up.
Tony's gonna jump in. Thank you guys for putting in the live chat. We got a good preview to it. Hold on to your opinions. Tony's gonna make a poll between you guys have nominated our top two, which are because out of everyone that's put it in the live chat, the most I've seen. I'm gonna read them all right now while Tony's setting this up. With Sonic's and Deep Space Nine is up there. Amy, Better Call Saul.
Fuck, bro.
Even though look at it, look what Amy put in the live chat. Even though she meant Better Call Saul. Did you see what Amy put?
Hit the fucking thing. No, I didn't see what she put.
She put BBC.
Jeez. All right, we can call it that.
Yeah, that's Amy's favorite show. So the British network television show, right, Amy? That's what you meant. Right. The British television network.
Create poll best of all time is
I'll play some mood music while Tony's setting this up.
Better Call Saul, which I kept calling it when I was reviewing the show.
Only for a little bit. Only for the
like, is he from New York? Keep calling him Sal.
Tony, you know what that really is.
That's the poll. The poll is up.
Tony's poll is up in the chat. No pause. Make sure you get your vote in for what is the best. Oh, I got to vote too, Tony. I'm not sure what I'm voting. Oh, fuck. I'm not sure.
It's a hard vote. You know what I mean? In the end, it truly is a hard vote. It could be either one, and you wouldn't be wrong by saying either one, right? Again, I would put. So it's two different things. Like, all right, so let's put it like this. If it comes down to like, I need to turn on the show and put the show on and just watch it, it's Frasier, of course.
Yeah.
Like I could just put it on.
I've watched Frasier more.
Yeah, you can just put it on and just play it, and it runs in the background. It runs.
Ooh.
You catch a joke here, blah blah blah.
This isn't even close, Tony. This is not even close.
Oh, I didn't even look at it yet. I mean, you have to put it that Frasier is that show that you could do that with. Better Call Saul takes a little bit more effort to watch. It takes more effort to watch and everything. We have 18 votes that I'm seeing, and we have more than 18 people here, so we need more votes in this. But right now, Better Call Saul is trouncing him.
Yeah, it's not even close. Saul is ridiculifying it, which I understand because Better Call Saul
overall is a better show. Like when it comes to like, but you have to follow story. Like it's two different types of show. There's Frasier.
I think it had the tougher job going in, Tony, because as much as Cheers was a success, it was still a sitcom. So all you had to do is make another great sitcom. With Better Call Saul, Breaking Bad is in the conversation of one of the greatest shows of all fucking time.
Yeah,
and really Better Call Saul equaled it. It fucking equaled it.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. Again, I look at it as Severance versus From. Frasier is a great bowl of cereal. You can eat that bowl of cereal morning, noon, breakfast, lunch, dinner. Whenever you feel like a bowl of cereal, you can take that bowl of cereal and eat it. And Better Call Saul is a filet mignon dinner. Like it's Kobe beefsteak. You know, it's the best you can get. But do you always want to eat the best you can get? No, it's quicker and easier to digest a bowl of cereal.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? That's the way I look at it in everything.
I mean, ultimately, you're right. I mean, the shows that I put on more often to watch, like when I'm just hanging out or trying to like watch TV or while I'm eating, are sitcoms, shows that I don't have to pay much attention to. Better Call Saul is a show. Even I haven't watched Better Call Saul even as much as I've watched Breaking Bad or The Sopranos or The Wire. Like, it's a heavy show that takes a lot of emotional and mental effort to watch it, but it is amazing. It's
I don't watch Game of Thrones over and over. I don't watch The Wire over and over, even though I could watch The Wire, but I don't watch The Wire over and over. But I will put on Seinfeld in the background and just.
I watch The Sopranos over and over for whatever that's worth. But yes, I put Seinfeld on in the background all the time, or comedies or sitcoms and shit like that.
Yeah, and I'll do my dishes while it's playing and everything else. And it's two different types of shows. It's Seinfeld's not trying to be The Wire or anything like that. It's not trying to be that serious. You know what I mean? But it's just trying to be what it does. It's a good sketch comedy show about a group of friends who are doing their thing. Again, the Jeffersons is the same way. They're easy watches. Laverne and Shirley, easy watches. When you talk about Saul and you talk about these shows, again, when you look at it, I don't think that Frasier could ever go down on the list as one of the greatest shows that ever existed. But Better Call Saul is on the list of one of the greatest shows that ever existed. Spinoff or not.
Yep.
And I think that Frasier could be one of the greatest sitcoms that ever existed, but not shows in general.
Yeah, no, I would absolutely agree with that. And I think it's Better Call Saul and the competition that it's in for the not the genre, the tone, I guess the genre, like the drama that it exists is beyond it. It's the fact that it even existed. Frasier is an amazing success. It really is. And it is one of the best sitcoms of all time. Like, not even joking. It really is. But you make an excellent point. Is Frasier might be the best sitcom of all time, or in the conversation. We'll do that. But is it the best in the conversation, but best television show of all time? No. Is Better Call Saul? Fuck yes. So my vote would go to Better Call Saul.
Yeah, and the vote is not close. It's Better Call Saul. So we have number 1, Better Call Saul, number 2, Frasier, and then I think it gets a little more difficult then there.
Yeah.
Well, I know you're gonna fight for Deep Space, Star Trek, Deep Space Nine.
No, I mean, I think on the next list, I mean, Better Call Saul is number 1 as our winner here. But let me get back to the list. Give me 1 second. So Better Call Saul is our winner, everybody. I would say next on that list between all those shows is the Jeffersons.
Yeah, I would put the Jeffersons there too. I would have to go. I think the Jeffersons deserves to be right behind them. And then we can go 1A, 1B, and that's then you can put Star Trek and Different World. You can put them right back to back. It wouldn't matter what order, but it would be Better Call Saul, Frasier, and then the Jeffersons for the top 3 spinoffs of all time.
And then going to the A, I would say Laverne and Shirley and The Simpsons. I guess The Simpsons would be the highest A.
I go Laverne and Shirley, The Honeymooners, Simpsons, Good Times, Maude, then Angel, SVU.
Yep, that's a good order. I may flip The Simpsons higher because The Simpsons at its best was hugely amazing and hugely influential. It just didn't. Its prime age is so marred by too much time. So The Simpsons, the more time The Simpsons goes, the further down on the list they go. B level. I would probably put House of the Dragon first, then Benson, then Rhoda, then Daria, then NCIS. I don't know about you, Tony.
Yeah, I wouldn't complain with that list at all. At all. I think Lex C. I would go.
C is tough. C is T.
C,
Morgan.
C. I would go. I would go. Young Sheldon, Facts of Life.
Morgan Mindy.
I don't know if it's better than Xena. I think you may have to give Xena.
You make a good point, Tony.
You got Young Sheldon, Facts of Life, Xena.
CS is CSI. I
Xena, CSI, Family Matters, Mork and Mindy would probably be the way I would put it there.
We'll talk about that in a second. Yes, Dunkin' Egg will be considered a spinoff for sure.
Yep.
I'll go with that order. I don't know about level D, what the order of that one is.
Yeah, I don't know how we'd be able to figure that one out.
We can't figure that one out, so we'll move on. Empty Nest is better than Melrose Place. That's fine. And all the Fs are equally shitty.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
So our winner tonight, Tony, is Better Call Saul. Are you surprised?
No. I mean, listen, Frasier gave it a great run for its money, and Frasier is very worthy of winning this award, 100% of being the greatest spinoff of all time. It is very worthy. But when you look at it, and you look at a show that is not only the greatest spinoff of all time, but could be the greatest show of all time, you have to say it's Better Call Saul. And that's what it is. And that's the way it goes.
Yeah, it's very hard to go against Better Call Saul in this kind of situation. As you put it, Frasier did give it a big run for its money.
Yeah,
and it's hard to think anything else that could equal it. I mean, some people might think we're being harder on The Simpsons. I do want to mention some honorable mentions that are hard to.
The poll. Let me say that the poll was 68% for Better Call Saul, 32% for Frasier. So pretty decisive there in the poll.
I want to throw in a couple of A/B ones that I just thought about that I forgot to mention. They're all kind of spinoffs. There was a series called Batman the Animated Series. Excuse me.
Yep.
And Batman the Animated Series spun off many shows, whether it be the Superman show, then the Justice League show, Batman Beyond, Static Shock, Justice League Unlimited.
Justice League is an amazing show.
That was Justice League Unlimited were excellent, amazing shows, Tony. Deep adult stories in animated form using the DC characters, and that was all spun off from the Batman animated series. So we didn't mention them tonight, but it just popped in my head.
Animated series is the best Batman of all time.
Yeah, that is my Batman, and the Justice League. That's my Superman. That's my DC. That's my DC right there.
Yeah, it's the best. Period. Out of all the live action stuff, those are the best characters that they put. That's the Hawk Girl and Green Lantern and the Flash. Everyone is perfectly cast. I remember my daughter loved it. My daughter was when she was a baby, young, she was a huge Wonder Woman fan, and I had a spinning thing, a flying Wonder Woman that you would just put the thing on and tie it to a light, and it would just spin around in a circle. And she had that, and she had Wonder Woman costumes for Halloween. She loved Wonder Woman, and she loved Link too. I had got her a Link costume. I had a hand sewn Link costume.
Oh, that's awesome.
She wanted to be Link and everything else. So she was always about that. And I love those shows 100%. But we won't keep this going.
Bill Chill in the live chat is a tough judge. One last thing, just because John Haymaker mentioned it, would we consider the Penguin a spinoff?
No, because even though it derived from a movie, it has to derive from a television show.
Okay.
I mean, if you want to put the Penguin in, now you're talking.
Yeah, that's S too. I'll give the Penguin an S.
Yeah, the Penguin's going to S level. The Penguin show itself, that one season of show, is some of the best television that has ever been made.
And Samuel, the Batman Beyond Return of the Joker was an amazing movie, and Batman Beyond in general is something that's forgotten about through history, and it's an amazing series, and I really do love it. But Tony's right, the Justice League and the Justice League Unlimited, if you haven't watched that and you're a superhero show fan, watch it. It's superior to almost anything you're ever going to watch. It's really fucking good.
It really is. It really is. So, if you haven't watched it, In Living Single, Julie B, definitely go watch that In Living Single. I know you wanted to be here, Julie, for After Dark. Maybe tomorrow night we'll be able to pull it off with Anna. I'll be speaking to her to see if we can get that done for you guys tomorrow night. But yeah, we're gonna end it now. Thank you for joining us on this tier list. Again, put in the comment section if you disagree or you do agree and everything else. If you like the way we do this, please look at Phil. Show him the instrument, Phil. Show him the instrument. What you got?
No, I was just gonna play you out. I was gonna play you out. No.
You can show it to him real quick. So
where is that? Do I have it? There
you go. It's Phil's new instrument. There you go. If you like the way we do this, please thumbs up this, spread this across the realm, and of course, subscribe. And until next time, you know who it is.